First, we have to love each other. Why am I writing this book? Probably to be forgiven for the initial cowardice of this unbearable indigenous condition of mine. That time when, as a high school student on my way to a school trip to New York, I asked my parents who had accompanied me to the airport to stay hidden, out of sight from my teachers and classmates because the other parents didn't accompany their kids. A lousy fib. I was ashamed of them. They looked too poor and too much like immigrants, with their Arab faces, as they proudly watched me fly off to the country of Uncle Sam. They did not protest. They hid, and I naively believed that they fell for it. What I failed to realize until this day is that they accompanied me in that lie. They even supported it without batting an eye, so that I could go further than them. And to be ashamed of yourself for us is like a second skin. Arabs are the last race after toads, my father would say, a phrase he must have heard on a construction site and made his own through the conviction of the colonized. He was not about to recant at the airport. Since then, an asbestos cancer carried him away. A worker's cancer. Yes, I need to be forgiven by him. Why am I writing this book? Because I am not innocent. I live in France. I live in the West. I am white. Nothing can absolve me of this. I hate the white good conscience. I curse it. It sits on the right's left at the heart of social democracy. This is where it has reigned for a long time, blooming and radiant. Today, the right is faded, worn out. Its old demons are catching up with it and the masks are falling off. But it is still breathing. It hasn't succeeded in conquering my territory yet, thank God. I am not looking for an escape. Of course, the encounter with the Great South terrifies me, but I surrender. I don't flee the undocumented worker's gaze, and I don't avert my eyes from the starving who washes up on our shores, dead or alive. I would rather come clean. I am a criminal, but an extremely sophisticated one. I don't have any blood on my hands. That would be too vulgar. No justice system in the world would drag me to court. I outsource my crime. Between my crime and I, there's the bomb. I own nuclear fire. My bomb threatens all and protects my interests. Between my crime and I, first there is geographic distance and then geopolitical distance. But there are also great international bodies, the UN, the IMF, NATO, multinationals, the banking system. Between my crime and I, there are national bodies, democracy, the rule of law, the republic, the elections. Between my crime and I, there are beautiful ideas, human rights, universalism, freedom, humanism, secularism, the memory of the Shoah, feminism, Marxism, third worldism, and even suitcase carriers. They stand at the pinnacle of white heroism. I respect them, though. I wish I could respect them more, but they are already hostages of good conscience, the foils of the white left. Between my crime and I, there is the renewal and metamorphosis of great ideas, should the beautiful soul come to expire, fair trade, ecology, organic commerce. Between me and my crime, there is my father's sweat and salary, social welfare, paid leave, labor law, school holidays, summer camp, hot water, heat, public transportation, my passport. I am detached from my victim and from my crime by an insurmountable distance. This distance stretches. European checkpoints have moved south. 50 years after the independence movements, North Africa is the one subduing its own citizens and black Africans. I was going to say, my African brothers, but I no longer dare to, now that I have admitted my crime. Farewell, Bandung. Sometimes the distance between my crime and I shrinks. Bombs explode in the subway. Towers are struck by airplanes and collapse like a house of cards. The journalists of a famous magazine are decimated. But immediately, good conscience does its work. We are all American. We are all Charlie. This is the Democrats' rallying cry, the sacred union. They are all American. They are all Charlie. They are all white. If I were judged for my crime, I wouldn't claim my innocence, but I would plead extenuating circumstances. I am not exactly white. I am whitened. I am here because I was thrown up by history. I am here because white people were in my country, because they are still there. What am I? An indigenous of the Republic. Above all, I am a victim. I have lost my humanity in 1492 and again in 1830, and my whole life is spent recovering it. Not all time periods are equally cruel to me, but my suffering is infinite. Ever since I have seen white ferociousness beat down upon me, I have known that I would never find myself again. My integrity is lost to me and to humanity forever. I am a bastard child. I only have one conscience, which awakens my memories of 1492. A memory transmitted from generation to generation that resists the industry of lies. Thanks to this memory, I know with the assurance of my faith and with intense joy that the Native Americans were the good guys. It's true, my bomb protects my indigenous aristocratic interests, but in fact, I only benefit from them accidentally. I am not their primary recipient, far from it, and my immigrant parents even less. I am in the lowest strata of the profiteers. Above me are the white profiteers, the white population that owns France, the proletarians, the civil servants, the middle classes, my oppressors. They are the small shareholders of the vast enterprise of the world's dispossession. Above them is the class of great possessors, of capitalists, of great financiers. In exchange for the complicity of the white subaltern classes, this class knew how to negotiate a greater distribution of the riches from the gigantic holdup, as well as a very monitored participation in the process of political decision-making that we proudly call democracy. My white fellow citizens believe in democracy. It's in their best interest to believe in it. This is why they worship it. But their conscience is crumbled. It seeks more comfort. To sleep in peace is essential, and to wake up proud of one's own genius is even better. Hell is other people. Humanism needed to be invented, and so it was. And the South, I know it. I'm from there. My parents transported it with them when they settled in France. They stayed there, and the South took hold of me. It never left me. It settled in my head and swore to stay there forever, to torture me. All the better. Without it, I would be nothing but a social climber. The South is here and observes me with its big eyes. Why am I writing this book? Because I share Gramsci's anxiety. The old is dying and the new cannot be born. In this interregnum, a great variety of morbid symptoms appear. The fascist symptom, born in the entrails of Western modernity. Of course, the West is not what it used to be. China woke up. I find no reason to rejoice from this, but I'm sure, however, that the decline of the squatter of Olympus is good news for humanity. Yet, I am terribly afraid of it. The West and its habit of reaching out in times of acute crisis, how will it crush us in its convulsions? To ward off this gloomy fate, some will say that the African man has not sufficiently entered into history. Others that all civilizations are not equal. Or others still will celebrate the positive role of France's presence abroad. This is the swan song. Césare's words resonate. A civilization which justifies colonization calls for its Hitler, its punishment. Hence my question, what can we offer white people in exchange for their decline and for the wars that will ensue? There is only one answer, peace. There is only one way, revolutionary love. The lines that follow are but an umpteenth, probably desperate attempt to generate this hope. In truth, only my frightening vanity allows me to believe in it, a vanity which I share with Sadri Chiari, another gentle dreamer, who made this statement. Because it is an indispensable partner to the indigenous people, the left is their primary opponent. We must do away with it. Shoot Sartre. It's not nostalgia for a French Algeria speaking, it's me, the indigenous woman.